This is the voice of freedom. We are not one voice. We are many. We are your voice. But we can only be effective if you use your voice. Your voice. This is the voice of freedom. We will not hide from the truth. We will ask the hard questions until we are sure we have the truth. Welcome to the voice of freedom, where your voice will never be silenced.
Well, your voice might never be silenced, but mine certainly has been for the last week or so. I do apologise. Put my neck and back out, which led to all sorts of strife. I couldn't keep food down. I had a really bad headache. And when I say a really bad headache, I had it from basically the moment I opened my eyes to pretty much the moment I went to bed. And nothing I was trying was getting rid of it. I'm not a big pill taker, but I even tried them and had moderate to no success. So eventually it dawned on me maybe my neck and my back might be the problem. So wound up at a chiropractor, and thankfully it worked out really well. I'd like to thank everybody that has contacted me or sent a message, whether it be through Facebook or through YouTube or Rumble or my phone number or email address, whatever you've got. Thank you very much for your thoughts and your prayers. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I thought I'd poisoned myself doing my little water experiments, because some of that water gives off some pretty evil crap. But no, it turns out I'd simply, I don't know, twisted, bent, looked up. I really shouldn't look up, tilt my head up, because I've got a neck issue from tend to create headaches like the one that I had. So clearly I'd done that, but I also had a lot of other bits and pieces in my back. But anyway, the guy I went and saw made me sign away my life, as they do these days, in case they turn you into something you weren't expecting to be when you walked in and weren't able to walk out. So you take the risk, but signed it away I did, and did get immediate relief, I have to say. Well, almost immediate. I was a bit crook the next day, that being yesterday. And that was simply just because of, I guess, the deep massage thing he did to me, and the twisting and the prodding and the pushing and the crunching. Probably more to do with the crunching. That didn't stop me catching up yesterday with someone very special in the Voice of Freedom family. She was up here on holidays and had brought a tribe of kids, not necessarily all her own, and needed a. Well, finally they went home. She was able to get a day off, and I caught up with the lovely Catherine Smith, Cass Smith from Holistic Financial Services and Freedom FFS. We had a bit of business to talk about, which was great, and went really well. We also went out and did something that I knew that she enjoys doing and had never had the opportunity to do before, and that was we went off to a pistol club and went pistol shooting. I'll leave it up to her to tell you how that went. But for someone who'd never picked up a pistol before, got to say, she's a pretty good shot. Very, very good shot, and a really good catch. But that's another story. So yeah, had a good, great catch up with her, and thank her very much for her support last year, and look forward to helping her further this year, and maybe whatever we can do together to help you. It'll all help us eventually, and that's what this program and this show, this channel is all about. It's all about you. It's all about us, the people. And while you do tend to hear my voice a lot, we're going to change that this year. And one of the people I plan on changing that with is a Finnish guy who, up until recently, I didn't realize was actually part of the family. We normally know him as Bradford, but tonight he's changed his name to Gal Lars. I take that as a Finnish name, brother. Is that what it is?
No, that's just the start, mate.
That's just the start? Very good. Very good.
Hey, Happy New Year, brother. Happy New Year, everyone. Great to see you.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, mate. It's awesome to catch up. What have we done? We've lost G2, so you're off working tonight.
He's working tonight, unfortunately. Yes, yeah.
Well, yeah, that sort of thing does happen.
It's got to be done sometimes. Yep.
Yes. We all face those battles, even at this time of the year. So, Canberra, you're looking pretty rugged up in summer.
Right. It is freezing outside. It's windy. It's cold. it's I really wish we'd have some global warming. You know, I don't know what happened to the global warming, but it's not here in Canberra. I think we had 3 days of summer, and now we're back to winter.
Wow. So what sort of temperatures are we talking about?
Right now, it just happens to be 17 degrees.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is a bit chilly.
Yeah, and
I was
the
planning to
breeze. It's the wind that gets you. It must be, wind chill factor of probably about 5 degrees out there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's always been a thing with Canberra, coming off the Brindabellas there, that chill breeze. Never fun. So you've had a fairly big day today. You've been out and about in Canberra. I should bring in our other couple of guests who you were staring at through your camera for most of the day. We'll welcome Dan to the show. Thank you, Dan, for coming, and thank you again for your service. And thank you for everything you've done today. And we'll bring in the lovely Tash for Unite in White. Thanks, guys, for everything you did today. Tash, thank you for driving home safely and being able to make the show. I really appreciate that. And Dave, thank you again for everything that you did today. First of all, maybe I can ask Bradford. What was your expectation today, and then what did you find when you first turned up this morning to the first of the events?
Well, to be honest with you, mate, with this weather, I wasn't expecting many people to be turning up at all, but very pleasantly surprised to get down to the rock garden at 10 o'clock and find, I don't know, guys, there was about 50 odd people there today, I reckon, thereabouts. Great turnout. Lots of
more
people.
Than that, it looked like to me, yeah.
More than that, probably. I'm hopeless with guessing numbers. It might have been 100.
See, you've got to understand, Dan. You've got to understand, Bradford only sees the crowd through a very small portion of the lens, you know?
Yeah, right, gotcha.
If you don't fit in the box, then that's all he counts. Like most videographers, it all works out pretty well. Tash, can I commend you today? You looked absolutely magnificent in your white, and the hat that you were wearing, while spectacular, I was very disappointed. Have I got mine in here? I've only just taken it off. I've been wearing it all day. I've been wearing one of your white hats all day today, and I thought, well, here I am. I'm seeing galactic larrikin vision of you running around at the forefront of today's Unite in White protest, or not even a protest. What am I saying? Stand, and you're wearing the wrong white hat, girl. What are you thinking?
I don't know. I wanted to make it a little classier. I wore my Anzac version of the white hat.
Well, you looked lovely. Can I just say thank you? I know how much work you put into organising this for today, and I think Dan obviously would agree that you're a stalwart of the movement there in Canberra, and sometimes, well, not sometimes, a lot of the time, the work that you do behind the scenes goes unrecognised. So I want everybody to know that this is the girl that cracks the whip and makes things happen. And she is guided by God. Look out if you have a different idea. It just doesn't work. But she is extremely persuasive, extremely talented. And I can't thank you enough for being part of my team on the Voice of Freedom as well, Tash. So, thank you. Thank you very much. Dan, today, mate, I know you're just knackered. Your brain's probably frazzled. You've done nothing but been talking, I gather, since about 8 o'clock this morning. So I don't want to keep either of you up long because I know, Tash, you had a long drive and you're both knackered. So give us a bit of an idea, mate, of what's transpired today. For those that saw the live stream, the Galactic Larrikins put out, and I think there was one or two others, you started at the Governor-General's, and take us from there.
Yeah, started the Governor-General's, proclaimed. All the people arriving today was just amazing. So much energy from them. Thank you all very much. It was a very rushed day, and there was a lot of a little bit of secrecy involved as well for certain reasons. But yeah, we proclaimed to the Governor-General, and then we pretty much split into two groups. Unfortunately, one of our own was arrested last night, so it was being released or in court at 10 a.m. So a lot of people went to the courthouse to support him, and I believe it's been a beautiful day there with a barbecue. The rest of us bypassed Duntroon and went straight out to Bungadore, the headquarters Joint Operation Command.
Yep.
So that's where the echelon are. That's where the brains are. They're the people we're trying to get through to. We didn't want to put it on the Duntroon people who were in training as such. But anyway, we got out there. The AFP met us there. They said they were ready for us and to come on in. First calls were that they were going to check all the cars and not let us in, and that was incorrect. A security guard tried to give us that information, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I commend the AFP there. They set us up. They just allowed us. They accommodated us beautifully. They had, and the bloke Beaumont was his name. Yeah, he had honour, and I really appreciated him as a person. Anyway, we did our ceremony there, our prayers and things, and then just went to the gate and asked if we could hand in the documents or for the duty officer to come forward. There was a corporation there, Downer, and there's no way they're having any bar of it. He's obviously been told what to say. Them's the rules. You're on Commonwealth land. Basically, backtrack and get out now. I said to him,
"Didn't have much to say when you said you're a Commonwealth citizen, though, did he?"
Well, that's right. We are Commonwealth citizens. We are the Commonwealth, and that's what I tried to understand. But there was a no-go zone. I could quite clearly see that, and the guy was probably under a lot of pressure, but doesn't matter, doing his job. The AFP, even Arnie Glenda, she tried to, as a representative of the First Nations people, tried to go in. No, there was a no-go. Credit again to Mr. Beaumont, who made a way for us and reopened the avenue at Duntroon. And, we went on down there and handed in the documents. A lieutenant, I won't give his name, I looked into his eye and I saw a soldier with heart and compassion. He assured me that he took this seriously. He thanked me for the documents and he would send them straight up the chain of command as I asked him to. They would get to the commandant. So mission successful. It was done.
Yeah, great. Great.
Yeah.
Got to say, I'd like to commend the AFP officer that you met there at the Joint Forces Base. Very accommodating bloke, very genuine, not trying to ruffle feathers, obviously, and didn't have to volunteer any of that information, didn't have to organise any of that. So, look, I know that you've got number 5 guarding you day and night. I wonder how many people... let me go back into the chat here. How many people get the number 5 reference? Do you understand what we're talking about when we talk about number 5? Thumbs up in the chat or anything if you've got the vaguest idea. You're all having your own chat in there at the moment, by the look.
Wally is another reference. Yeah.
Tell us what it means.
Oh, my God.
Oh, well, yeah, short circuit's a robot that came to life, artificial intelligence that came to life, and he wanted to prove he was alive, and number 5 is alive, and good story in the 80s, I think it was.
That movie, was that Electric Dreams, or is that a different one? It's around the same time.
Around the same time. It had the what they called the Brat Pack back then, I believe. Ali Sheedy and a few others. Guttenberg.
That's right, Steve Guttenberg. Yeah,
I'm
going to have to go and watch that. But he looks exactly like number 5, except for he doesn't have like the tracked wheel system and the get around, but the head is number 5. Absolutely,
he's on rubber. But I tell you what, he's packing some power and punch, and definitely evolved. There's 2 generators in there, or 2 exhausts, a lot of power on the sun. I'm not sure what it's capable of, but I can only imagine and just see that they can see all.
Well, I can tell you don't need 2 generators to run a camera that sees all. I'm just wondering what else they're running out of it.
We're obviously protected, mate.
Yeah. So you guys have got readers and whatnot down there, don't you? EMF and all that sort of stuff.
We haven't done yet. A couple of the mates there, they want to have a look at it, but I suppose the tech still fails us a little bit. But at the moment we're all right. We don't have the sort of the facial colorings and blisterings as when you get hit by it, or like we have been hit by it in previous times. So we're doing all right. I'd just like to think there's good people in control there that are just watching our backs. But we didn't.
That is the case. And judging by today's interaction with the AFP, I'd have to say, thumbs up, AFP. Bloody great effort. Like to see more humans at the forefront of this.
You nailed it, mate. The humans, we're trying to get past that corporate barrier, that the uniform. They're real men and women. They've got substance of character, and and they're real people, brothers and sisters. And we need to get back to that, so we can see all these rules are just hurting us. So I really commend the office.
Was I imagining things, or I saw the way that he was dressed, that AFP officer, that I did see in one of the backs of another shot that Rob or Bradford was taking, that there was a group of officers that were dressed in a much more, much darker, if you like, police uniform, more like their riot squad guys, gathered up under some, little shelter thing up on a hill there. Must have been half a dozen or so of them watching. I just noted the different uniforms. Do you see? Do you know if there is a difference? Were they ACT police rather than AFP? Or
I know we have AFP, the PSOs. I believe they're like we have PSOs look after the parliamentary triangle. Certain AFP groups look after like the installations. They're not the boys in blue anymore that we used to know, but the black is definitely significant on a international level. And that's why we hand in the documents, because we feel we're being operated by foreign interests other than our own, outside of our own. And up until today, I would have said that about the police, but these guys operated with their heart. They capable of getting a job done, and they accommodated all people. They saw it for what it was. I really appreciated it. Yeah. But they're our brothers and sisters, and that's what we've got to remember. Once the uniform's gone, just when you put the uniform on, doesn't mean you lose your heart, use your humanity. You don't know who's pulling your strings up there, mate. You've got to start understanding that. And we are right in front of you, pleading to you. And that's what we got to today. So we did bypass them in a way to go to the military. But just to see that heart in them, well, that's what we're trying to get to. Yeah, get back to each other, to help each other through this. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. How are you guys standing up to it? Weather's not helpful, and obviously they've made your accommodations even a little harder. How many of you now camped out there in the park?
Yeah, they've made it harder. We do, feel like we're being entrapped. The only place they seem to be able to get us is on the road. But once again, different echelons, different groups of police, different rules. So you can't tell one from the other, but we do need to push through that. We're very peaceful people. We have the right to transit freely from one place to another, and we've just got to get the job done. We've got a lot of energy from the people today. Great to see the Galactic Larrikins again, mate. They're good friends of ours. And while I'm here, mate, this way, Tash, phenomenal, the support she's done, the work she's done. And not just now, just consistently the whole time I've been here. And as you know, and as A1 know, it's about time there. The credit went to where credit's due, and then also thank you to the Unite and White initiative action. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a movement. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is a great initiative. And tomorrow, of course, in Brisbane, if you would like to be part of Unite in White, 10 a.m. at the Enoggera Barracks, Gallipoli Barracks in Enoggera, and you can be part of that. Just wear white. Now, I've got a white shirt. Well, I'm a bloke, and washing machines sometimes have eluded me, particularly matching or putting all my whites in just by themselves. So it's a sort of an off-white colour. If you have an off-white colour shirt, can you go along to the event, Tash? Is that going to be cool?
Yes.
Yeah?
There's a particular member of the Canberra Standards crew that says that there's a rule in his life since he was a child that the minute he puts a white shirt on, he ends up under a car because he's like mechanically minded. So yeah, it's okay.
Right.
Dirty white is fine. It just shows that you're a hard worker.
Yeah, exactly.
The off-white, the beige, Richie Benno special.
What is it?
The beige. Yeah, absolutely. Make sure the
we
hair's
had all
all right.
We had all manner of colours there today, because not only did Unite in White people come, people that had come for the other event actually decided to come and support us as well. And it was a massive convoy, and we weren't expecting it. We thought it would just be a small contingency of quality, not quantity, but we ended up with both. So,
Beautiful people.
It was just perfect.
It was an awesome long convoy.
It was massive.
don't know what they were thinking when they saw us
I was
all
going
come.
to say,
One
when
car.
you gave me an estimate of 50, I thought, I looked at the car park there and there were 50 cars
50
and there was more
cars,
than
yeah.
one person to a car. So
True.
there was a lot more out there at the Joint Forces Base, I think, than we saw
There was heaps.
through your exceptional camera work at the lake, I'll just add.
Yeah.
All right, guys, there's a lot of love for you here in the chat tonight, and everybody's thanking you for the effort and your work you're putting into it. They do suggest you go off and have a drink and go to bed. Tash, it looks like you're just about ready to collapse. So I hope you've done a lot of kilometres this last week. So I hope you get a good rest tonight, and look forward to chatting to both of you again in the not too distant future. Dan, probably see you very soon. So looking forward to that.
So, mate. Yeah, I hope
All right,
so.
mate.
Thank you very much. And good night to all you digital diggers. You are a vital asset. Don't ever underestimate how important you guys are. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much. So Dan and Tash, thank you, darling. Go and say hi to the family for me and then go to bed.
I will.
All right, good on you. And just so you know, absolutely no troubles with your audio here. It was fine.
Oh, that's because I pulled it together
Just
in
'cause
5 seconds.
Oh, well, there you go. See, another one of these powerful women who can pull things together in no time at all. Go to bed. Have a lovely weekend.
You too. Thank you.
No worries, mate. It's great to be associated with people like this. They're just such powerful people to be around too. Dan, I haven't been able to spend much time with him. I really only met him in Canberra at as we were doing the Bosey show. And we arranged some tickets to get him and a few of the others in, and didn't have an opportunity to catch up and chat really much afterwards. So I was saddened about that. And Tash, well, we've been working with Tash for a while now. She is such a dynamo. I mean, you've probably seen more of her in Canberra from the Canberra stand days back from February the 7th when it all started. So you've obviously seen how she portrays herself.
Yeah, she was there every weekend to the outside the Parliament House. Would be there every weekend on the back of the truck. Ricardo would come down as well. Yeah, she's a trooper, mate. She's unreal. She's one of the hardest workers in this whole movement. And Dan as well. Dan's just an absolute bloody legend, salt of the earth digger. He really is. Great bloke. Yeah. Love him.
So how did you bring in New Year?
New Year, we were up at Quacker's Place, the quiet achiever in the Galactic Larrikins group, and we had a few beers up there with him. Had a great night actually.
Did you?
Yeah, we got doesn't happen very often, but we got a little bit sloshed. And to be honest with you, mate, I was in bed by 12:15. I was knackered.
Oh, great. You popped the fizzer at midnight and said, "Thank you very much, I'm off."
Oh, mate, I did well to get to midnight. I'll tell you, I'm not built like I used to be. That's for sure. Especially when it comes to the drinking side of it.
See, now I feel exactly the same way. For many years, I used to think it was a badge of honor to say, for 17 years, I never saw New Year's Day until New Year's Day night. I might have seen the sun come up on New Year's Day, but that's only because I was coming home from the clubs at that time. And for the last, 17 or more, maybe not quite that long, 15, I've seen New Year's Day from very early in the morning. I still might have worked, but I was either driving limos or doing something else productive rather than standing at a bar pissing a huge amount of money over it and getting a terrible hangover in return. So New Year's Eve's driving limos on the Gold Coast isn't a bad night to be out working, just between you, me, and the gatepost. So you'd go out and do 12 hours pretty happily, and 6 till 6 sort of thing, and go home and have breakfast on New Year's Day and think, what a beautiful day. Okay, I did still sleep most of it, but I didn't wake up with a hangover. So,
mate.
And I had money in my pocket from it. So
these days, a hangover for me is a a 2-day ordeal. It's just not worth it.
Well, I got slipped a Mickey in a Gold Coast nightclub. I won't name it. I don't even think it exists anymore. But yeah, I got slipped a Mickey, and it knocked me for 5 days. I had to go down and extend. I was up there for work, and the people I was working for had paid for a motel for me for 4 days, and this happened on the night of the 4th. So I had to be out the next day. And by the time I got back to the motel room and started throwing up, I realized I wasn't going to be able to go anywhere the next day. So I had to negotiate myself into the room for the rest of the week. And for the first 2 days of that, I shook like a dying dog in bed and could only get up to vomit. That is rated as the worst hangover I've ever had in my life, and scared me away from drinking to ever get one again. Probably a good thing. Probably a good thing. It doesn't mean I don't drink. I, still have a drink. Captain John came over on Christmas night, and we managed to decork the bottle of Glenlivet that I've had in my possession for 2 years. And needed a reason to open it. He seemed like a bloody good reason. So we sat down, drank 3/4 of that, and solved the problems of the world. He's away at the moment on another commitment, but I'm looking forward to getting back in touch with John. We've got some very exciting stuff we're going to be doing with John this year, and I look forward to getting him on to explain more of it. I should have done a lot more last week about all of this, but I just wasn't capable with being crook. So, no fun at all. All right. Might take the opportunity to bring in Chris. Now, I had a lot of reaction to from people about Chris from Starseeds and Patriots Down Under. This is where we might get a bit dodgy on the old tube of you, if you know what I'm saying. So we're going to talk about some interesting stuff tonight. And we're missing Bob. Now, Bob may not have got the links. I'm hoping that Chris has sent him the link. Good. And Bob will pop in whenever he is. But at any rate, we have Chris. So we'll bring him up in. And oh, God, there you go. Nearly hung up on him. Good evening, Chris O. How are you, mate?
Chris.
G'day, mate. How are you? G'day, Lars.
Very good.
How are you, mate?
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year's to you both as well, gentlemen.
Thank you. Happy New Year, brother.
I'm hoping that you got that message and you've relayed it to Graham. Bob, who am I talking about? Bob?
Nothing's come. The one that you sent me.
Yeah, just saying send the link I sent you to
right.
Bob if you can.
Doing it now, mate. Doing it now.
I'm doing it and can't send it to him for whatever reason. It's not happening. Or he's
right now for you,
just
brother.
decided he doesn't want to join us. Did you put your New Year in quietly? Tell us about that.
I actually spent it very quietly by myself with my cat, and I spent the evening, funnily enough, I'm going to have to admit it to you, because people will call me a liar otherwise, because my posts on Facebook say the same. I was sitting here watching Forgetting Sarah Marshall and Love Actually.
You didn't have to admit that.
Hey, mate, I'm a truthful guy.
There's falling on your sword, and then there's falling on your Christmas tinsel. Wow.
Hey, mate. I was wrapped in it, and I was sitting there and rolling around in it.
Oh, that's hilarious. I've never actually seen Love Actually. It must be good, eh?
You've never seen Love Actually?
I have not. No, I thought it was a girls' movie.
Me neither. Me neither until New Year's Eve. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
No.
So, all right then. From one virgin watcher who popped his cherry, can you tell the other virgin watcher, is it worth watching?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
It is.
Does it have to be Christmas?
No. If you can put up with Hugh, whatever his name was, doing that pathetic dance, Hugh Grant doing that pathetic dance, then you'll get all the way through it if you can put up with him.
I'm not a big Hugh Grant fan, I've got to say.
Me neither. But the rest of the story and everything that's attached to it, mate, enjoy.
Okay.
He did some of his best work on the streets of Hollywood with Divine Brown. So, you know.
Yes, indeed. I've sent that link over, mate.
He owned up to it.
Yeah, he
You
owned
have
it and
chucked
he
it
went
over,
through it
or
all.
you need me to throw it to you again?
No, I've got it. I've already sent it to him. Yep. He's
Beautiful.
hopefully got
He'll
it. I'm
pop
just
in when
going
he
to
pops in.
see if he's just there still on Messenger.
Oh, well, if he is, he is.
So
If
I've
he's
sent
not,
it
he's
to him.
not.
I've sent it to him. Yeah, I've sent it to him on Messenger, and yeah, he should reply.
Oh, good.
Link
He'll
sent.
drop in. He'll drop in or he won't. Now, boys, I've been looking at the news headlines. This is not something I do with any great reasonable expectation of seeing truth. But I have noticed Prince Harry has been in the news a lot lately. And I mean a lot lately. Him, Meghan, the King, the Queen, the brother. Who's he now? The Prince? The Princess? It's hard. It's so confusing. At any rate, Harry wants to be back with his dad and his brother, but doesn't want to be back with them, or the family doesn't want her, or she doesn't want the family. There seems to be a lot of angst. This is going to tear the royal family apart. Harry is going to tear the royal family apart. That's my expectation about what's going on here. I'm just wondering how it's going to happen. But Chris, you came up with a bit of an idea today, and you have photos. You have things of great intrigue you might like to share.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, I got a few things. Look, I think judging on some of the things that are coming out and what I'm seeing, and just the fact that Harry has been placed in this position where he is, where he's had to separate, okay, it makes perfect sense for me that some of the independent intelligence agencies would probably be, to a degree, working with the military alliance as such, read in Harry as such to what is going on by now, absolutely. And hence the reason why he's made these statements and allegations publicly now for the first time about his mother, and believing that she's still alive and that she'd faked her own death. Actually, to tell you the truth, I wish I actually added two more photos to the file, which I probably still can go into it anyway and still get them whilst we're doing this. But it's not in the file that I've got tonight. But I've actually got something that would have been very good to be in the file tonight. But yeah, I believe, Harry has been to a degree read in as such, and I believe the independent agencies would be using him to try and to dismantle such piece by piece publicly, especially through the Netflix series that they're doing as well. Knowing that to a degree there's also a fair bit of white hat military alliance in control of the Netflix thing as well, knowing that and using this platform, it makes perfect sense that all of this is being dismantled on a public level on such a worldwide scale that there's no avoiding this. They're in damage control big time now, and there's no closing this. The gates are open.
Is your expectation we'll see a coronation?
Not sure as such as the stage. It's unclear because, we're not. He might. Old Charlie Barley might see that coronation happen. Who knows? It's hard to see who's actually whether or not even Charles has been changed out. I think he has been at this stage in the game. He'd have to be. So if we are going to see his coronation, there would only be a show. It'd be of minimal expense as well to the taxpayer of Britain. Just looking at how little they spent on so many other, on the other funerals that happened recently as well, it's pretty safe to say that this will all just be a smoke and mirrors bloody public relations bullshit act, as far as I'm concerned.
So there's a few differing opinions here. He won't be crowned. He'll never be crowned. He will be crowned, but he won't last 5 years. I did notice that they were talking in one of the articles that I read. The king was quoted as saying he wanted his last years not to be a mess between the boys. Now, I don't know. He's not that old. He's come from old stock. His parents didn't die until deep into their 90s. So you've got to think he's good for another 20 years, sitting on the throne, if that's what we're going to call it. Interesting terminology that he's using. So, just words mean things, folks. We keep forgetting that. We take the words on face value. Sometimes we need to look a little deeper and see how that works. Oh, hang on. He's saying he hasn't got the link. You guys just talk amongst yourselves for a moment. I'll try and get Graham to.
If we're having a night of confessions, and I have to confess to watching the first episode of the Harry and Meghan doco on Netflix.
Cool. I haven't watched it yet.
I've got to say, that's a confession I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I know. Curiosity.
Mine will go last.
Yeah, that's about as far as
I should be onto it.
Yeah, I thought you would have watched it. Yeah.
Not yet. I'm not a big Netflix fan.
No,
I'm discerning with what I watch, but yeah.
I'm the same way. I think just about everything Netflix makes is steeped in evil. I don't know why I say that, but just look at some of the shit it makes. I mean, some of it is blatantly
Stranger Things, mate. Stranger Things is right there at the core of it.
That's full on disclosure. That is. Yeah.
Lucifer. Well,
Lucifer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that Lucifer really normalizes that whole thing, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, doesn't it? Just completely,
Yep.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting show.
Is that cute?
Does anyone know who's playing Camilla in? At the moment, no idea who's playing Camilla at the moment.
No idea. I have no idea.
Sybil Shepherd.
Could well be the clone. I mean, it couldn't be the clone because they say the clones are not as smart as the real one.
Yeah, apparently, from what I understand, from a bit of. Have you ever seen the movie called Jupiter Ascending?
Yes.
Okay, there's a scene in the movie where I think that the girl who's one of the owners of these planets who own people, etc., I think her name is Khalik or something like that. She's referring to how clones lack neuroplasticity, which means they're unable to be retrained to do new things. They can only be programmed, etc., to do such things.
Right.
Unable to make neural pathways, new neural pathways between.
Gentlemen, I have a question. I have a question from somebody in the chat. Akka wants to know: do tampons have a use-by date?
Yeah.
I don't know about dates. I just say when they're full.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about them. No, sorry.
No, so we can't help you. We tried.
No.
Best we
Wrong
can do.
show.
Apologies
Wrong
there.
show.
So there are some very weird things. Yes, Netflix is prophetic too. Well, yeah, I haven't seen too much prophetic stuff on it. I've seen some pathetic stuff on it, but that's that's to be said for all streaming services. I shouldn't pick on them. Sunflower, hello. I haven't said hello to you yet, you wonderful soul. You. Thanks for coming back. Happy New Year. Hope everything's going well for you. No, I don't think I'm going to follow that line of topic in the chat tonight. So, if there is any other questions aside from ones about tampons,
Patrick says Short Circuit was the name of that movie. Number
Circuit,
5.
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yep.
That's right, with Ali Sheedy.
Yep, and Steve Guttenberg and
Steve Guttenberg.
Even the captain from Police Academy was in it.
Oh, was he? Classic.
Yeah, he was the guy that was chasing him down.
Yep. Yeah, it was a classic film.
All right. He's saying he hasn't received it from you or from me.
That's funny because I've sent it. Yeah, it's right there. I'll have a look again, mate. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right here.
Oh, I've just asked him to send me a message on Messenger, and we'll see whether or not.
Yeah.
I'll have to open up Messenger, I suppose. That'll make it a lot easier. Look, maybe I can just share my screen while we're doing the whole Messenger thing. While I'm trying to figure that out.
They're playing silly buggers tonight. It just went through just then. My phone's had Wi-Fi on the whole time, and the actual link has only just gone through then, Carl. They like to play.
Well, New Year's Eve, Guru, I think, tried to do a marathon. Went 6 hours or a bit over. Who's feeding back? What's going on there, boys? What have we changed? Can't see where that's coming from. Anyway, yeah, they interrupted everything there. And then we got to talking about my water experiments, and I had a few little examples that I could show. And they didn't like me showing that or talking about it, so they booted me. And I tried about a dozen times to get back in. It would allow me in for a second and then kick me straight back out again. So they were certainly very unhappy, and they are doing all sorts of strange stuff to us all, which is a bit disappointing. But having seen, the corporation in action today at the front of the at the front of the what am I trying to say, Joint Forces base, you're not at all surprised that that's how things are playing out. So absolute pain in the bum. Yeah, somebody must be watching us. I can't even raise him on my.
Go back in again.
Yeah, I can't even raise him on my messenger. That's so strange. So strange.
Bloody technology, eh? God damn.
Okay. Well, yeah.
He's just sent to me. Said to me just then, no, have not got it here yet. So I just resent it again, mate.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yep. Even though it's come up as being sent on my end and received and seen. There he is. Wow. He goes, just coming in now. There you go, mate.
Oh, there you go. Beautiful. Well, that'll be good, because then I can get in and start showing this video that I came across today, which I think is going to lead on to something that you guys particularly want to talk about. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Bob. Happy New Year,
brother. Everyone.
Hi, Bob.
Got there,
and I got there, and to all those fans of ASIO, get fucked. I got here.
Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him hard.
All right, good on you, boys. Done well, done well. How did you put in the new year? Were you, quiet, silent Bob, or were you out partying, Bob?
No, very much saw in the new year, and went straight to bed. Very boring. Got up again the following day, and yeah, life carries on.
Yep.
Yeah.
No,
as it is,
just another day.
Have to do. Yeah, well, it's the kind of thing you want. Boys, I want to show you something, because I believe you're going to show me something a little later on. So we want to try and share a screen of a video that just came across my Facebook today, and I thought, I want to show that because you and I had only just been talking moments beforehand, if you like, about certain things that were going to come up, I think, in this. So I just want to see. Hang on, God, now I've lost everything. There you go. Share. Righto, you guys can see that.
Yep. You can see that.
It's coming up. Here we go. I know that. Yes. I
don't know what's happened to the audio. Hang on. Let me demute that. This thing doesn't let me rewind. But it's under the Sphinx.
We're going to see that in a second. I've got some images.
Oh.
What's at the bottom of that first tunnel?
Well, underneath the Great Sphinx, there's a lot of tunnels. Some of them lead out for miles underneath Giza. And according to the Emerald Tablets, both claims to have even hidden a ship of some type underneath the Sphinx. There have been ground-penetrating radar reports stating that about a mile down, there's a massive cavern or some kind of opening with something underneath the Sphinx. Nobody's been given access to go that deep.
When you say ship, ship for the water or ship as in a craft?
Well, he calls it a ship that has the capability of battling an invader from the deep. And he's talking about deep space.
Right.
So I don't think it's a ship that sails out on the ocean. I think it's a spaceship of some type. He says the one that is the wisest will be able to free the ship and defeat the enemy with ease.
There you go.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Interesting.
A cavern like the Hall of Records apparently is meant to be under the Sphinx.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. So you wanted to talk tonight about tunnels and all sorts of strange things, Chris. So do you want to lead us into where we're going?
Oh, yeah, mate, absolutely. I can do that. Would you like
Well,
me to pull
it
up the
wasn't
file?
tunnels. I beg your pardon. It wasn't so much
Yeah,
tunnels
not
we were going to
tunnels.
talk about. It was
No, we're
it was
gonna do-
pyramids,
well,
which are
we're
very
gonna
close
do,
to the Sphinx.
Yes, but on another continent as such, up in Romania.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yeah, we'll be covering that as well tonight. As what we were talking about with Mr. Harry's and his little statements. I've got a couple of files there that I'm capable of showing you. Absolutely.
All right, we'll get into it.
Absolutely.
Let's show
All right,
us.
mate.
Do your worst. Remember, we are
All
on the tube of Ubeness, so God knows what they're going to say,
Yep.
but we'll figure it out.
I've toned it down for us tonight, mate.
Good
Down.
man.
Just pulling it
Good
up
man.
now. I'll just get this and move it over as such. From here to this
Yes,
screen.
absolutely, Chris. There are pyramids all over the world, including Antarctica. The ones in Antarctica, there are three, I believe.
Exactly.
Possibly more. But,
Well,
three.
put it this way: I've seen three,
Yeah.
and again, that's only from the limited flight path that we could travel. Because again, we take off out of New Zealand, fly down. We've got a limited amount of time before we have to fly back. So there may be a lot more down there. But yes, I have seen three on basically a hilltop from the remnants of an old city.
So, Bob, were you capable of aerial refueling? Could you have done longer missions down there, or was it simply a fuel issue?
No.
You go down and take a look and come back again?
Basically, head down, come back. The New Zealand Air Force doesn't have any capable tankers to refuel in the air. So, it's one of those things. So, generally, we were limited to a maximum of around 13 hours. If we were absolutely desperate, we would fly into Invercargill to refuel and then come up the island. But normally, most operations, you would refuel out of Christchurch because that's where, what do they call it? Operation Deep Freeze in Orchard Street, which is just north of the international terminal. And that is the American hangar for all Antarctic flights.
Right.
And going back in the day, they'd actually have the old C-141 Starlifters that would fly down. Nowadays, you've got the Globemaster, and very occasionally they'll send a Galaxy down, big C5. But if you understand how much those things can carry, they're supplying a lot more than just food for a few hundred scientists.
Wow. Okay. This is an interesting point. I've heard this too from Chris. South Australia has 3 gold pyramids, but Google Earth has, made them a bit fuzzy. There are lots of areas that Google Earth, for some reason, the resolution has gone to buggery just in that particular, few thousand square kilometre area. Have actually heard. I don't know, Chris. Do you know if these were solid gold pyramids or we're talking about a golden capstone on a pyramid?
I'd say it's more so a capstone on the top, from what I've seen from the 2 different views that I've seen, one on satellite view and one on Google Earth view, seems as though Google's gone and actually airbrushed it and made it look like a dam on top because it's got curved sides that comes up the sides. So it looks like they've actually made the square where the capstone's supposed to be looking like a dam now, where it's got like a reflective sort of pool at the top. But it looks they've done a poor job really of covering it up, really. Because I got one photo that says one thing and Google Earth says another. When you look at it from satellite view, it's a different story.
Yeah, for sure.
Do we know whereabouts in South Australia these are? What area?
It's called Uniquewaram Golden Pyramid. It's in the where South Australia meets Western Australian border. It's a couple of 100 miles in, a couple of 100 kilometres in, sorry, and it's to the southwest of South Australia.
Okay.
I'll have to send you guys some. I'll send you guys the actual location coordinates from Google Earth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'd love
because
to
I mean, if you can find it on Google Earth, you can find it on the same coordinates on the satellite as well.
Yeah, great.
Excuse me. Yeah.
I'd be
Yeah,
interested
they've done a
to,
poor job.
Now, Mike Rolton has just brought up an interesting topic. Seems they were built by giants for the purpose of power generation, just like Tesla tried to tell everyone years ago. This seems to me like a lead in to you, Chris.
Yeah, mate. I mean, this file from the Bashigi Mountains that I've got here, it's absolutely amazing. Like when I come across these photos, I was absolutely gobsmacked because I've known of the Bashigi Mountain complex for a while since I learnt about the Carpathian Sphinx, which is right up at the top, which is basically another copy of the Sphinx right up in the upper top mountains of Romania. But it's so wind weathered and worn from being there so much longer that you can only just make out the details. But the Sphinx is not the only thing that's up there on these land masses. There's also rocks that look like camels and frogs and all sorts of things that have been carved in these massive boulders. And that's what led me to finding eventually the Bashigi Mountain Complex when it was disclosed about, I think, 8 years ago. Dr. Osmanagic has been excavating it and going through this complex since. And the first big pictures have actually just started to be released now on TikTok. And a friend of mine sent them to me, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll screenshot this and share it with you guys because I mean it's absolutely interesting and fascinating to see that something that's roughly 5 times the size of the Great Pyramid of Giza, sitting in Romania, where there's not just one pyramid, there's quite a few, but because of what I see as being the last crustal displacement and liquefaction of soil during that frequency shift as well for the planet at one stage, a lot of land mass has been pushed up against the back of this pyramid where you can only see 1.5 sides of it, 1.25 of the actual sides facing the front, and there's a lot of land mass which after thousands if not millions of years, probably more so thousands, it's now solidified into mud fossilized rock, which makes it look like a mountain range, and with vegetation and everything growing on top of it after all these years, none of us have been none the wiser to know it's really there.
Yeah, true. Question from Kanga. Is it possible the face of the Sphinx has been altered? I would say 100% possible. Yeah.
It's actually the nose that was that's missing now. It was actually shot off by soldiers of Marco Polo during their travels in Egypt. They thought it was a giant sand monster coming out of the actual sand, and he ordered them to draw their muskets and fire upon it. And being ball-bearing flintlock muskets back then, having about 10 soldiers fire all at once, I mean, just took that nose right out.
Yeah. We all think that the Sphinx is absolutely monumentally huge, but it's not that big, and 10 muskets or 100 muskets would do significant damage. And it's pretty soft. Some of that sand is pretty soft, although obviously it stood the test of time. Erosion has taken its toll to a certain point as well, I'm sure. Oh, look, we're joined by another larrikin. So, evening, Marcus. How are you, brother?
Good, yourself?
Very decent. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, same with you guys. Good to see you guys. Haven't spoke to you guys for a couple of weeks, I think.
Happy New Year, mate.
All right, well, Chris is about to, as they used to say in an old TV show, take you on a journey. So,
sound a little bit like Jimmy Church then.
So share your screen, mate, and let's get into it. Where are we going?
No worries. All right, so hold on, I'll just minimize this. Where am I? And okay, just pull it up here.
Hi, Marianne.
Now, I've got a screen share going. Okay, settings.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, just go down to
Yeah,
go to present.
Screen share. There we go.
Screen, and it'll bring up whatever you want to. Yep, present.
Okay. This screen here. This is what I want to do. Is that coming up the wrong way, or do I have to go the opposite side?
I
think
no, you just send up screen share and hit share, and it'll come up here where I can share it.
Okay,
Like right
now, so
there.
Okay, mate.
She's loading. Oh well.
Okay.
I won't share that much so far. You get something up, I won't show all your files in one go.
No. Thanks, brother. Okay, she's a loading right.
Yes, we've got a bit of a drain on. Who's got a TV going on in the background?
They like to slow us down when we really need it. Not me.
Sometimes that extra audio drag can be a real issue.
That should sort the issue.
Thank you, Bob. So you back at work, Bob, or did you take time off? Just
all right, got it up, mate.
No, we worked all the way through.
Oh, well, there you go. Merry New Year to you. Hopefully the pay will come through. I'm still seeing your full folder, mate, with all your images in it. Is that what you want me to share?
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Nice.
There you go.
All right.
There you
so
go.
Is this okay, have we got that screen up? There we go. All right.
White hat.
All right, cool. So now this is just one of the first photos that came up that I was sent. I'm not exactly sure where this is inside the actual pyramid. I'd say this is one of the lower levels that were excavated during 2000. So as you can see, 2000 has been going on for since then.
Hang on, we're not looking at
the actual date before, but I learned it.
Hang on.
We're looking at a UFO.
We're looking at a UFO that says white hat.
With Trump under it.
Okay. Looking at that screen, okay. That going?
Sounds like ASIO's loving him tonight.
Yeah.
I'll pull it out while you figure it out. That's all good. Bob, last time you and I spoke, we were talking about reverse lightning.
I'll just go present again.
Coming out of the ocean. No more reverse lightning storms that you're aware of?
No. At the moment, I'm sure they're probably trying to dry roast us and then wait for a few bushfires to kick off.
Yeah, so is that what's happened over there? You've had a bit of rain, everything's greened up, and now it's starting to heat up?
We've had absolutely no rain, and we've had 37 degrees all week. And yeah, it's dry. It is just waiting on the first of the arsonists or whatever to get out, and she'll be off.
Yeah, and there's always some tool out there who's going to go and light a fire. Unfortunately, there you go, Chris. I think we might have it inside. How do you say it?
Underground alien base in Romania. Well, someone named it an alien base, but really, it's not what I'd consider to be that at all. I think it's more so an ancient base that was built inside this mountain complex of what looks like a pyramid. The pyramid itself and the concrete that was made for this is roughly 10 to 50, in certain places, 10 to 50 times stronger than modern concrete that we make today.
Wow.
Some of the things that they've actually used, the materials and the way they constitutionally put them all together to make this cement has lasted the test of time. And I mean, God knows, I actually don't even know the date of this because I haven't really looked into the Great Pyramid up here in Romania too much. I just knew that Dr. Osmanagic has been at this for quite a while, and I discovered this myself, roughly about 8 years ago. But this would be a lower level, and it does look like nothing at all at this stage. But when you start like this, that's when you start to see that these things have been made by a very advanced civilization to be able to carve out like this on this level, and to match each one of these all the way down this corridor. But what really I question right now is the light and where's the light source
Yeah.
coming from, considering it's in stone structure, in a strata such as this of a rock. Where is the light source coming from, and what is this at the end? You know, like I can sit there and zoom that up for you and have a look. You know, there you go. And like just the level of and sophistication of some of these structures is just absence. But I want to know what's down here. You know, that's what I want to know. I'm nosy. So we'll go to the next one. Now this is another structure that's inside here. It's been supported obviously, and it's got obviously some form of structural deformity above them where they've had to put steel girders in
utilities or whatever they are there. Yep.
Yeah, and they've actually added in fluorescence in this room, particularly as you can see up the back here and across the ceiling structure and girders. So yeah, but looking at some of the rock. I mean, this is all hand placed rock. Each one of them, if you can see close here, you can see that each individual stone has been placed specifically. So looking at this room, it will take immense amounts of hours to be able to create something so immense like this. You know, like it's crazy. And the amount of people, you know, how many people were working at it. And this is just one of many rooms. This is one of the other tunnels that are being excavated. You can see survey tripod there, laser tripod.
Oh, right, that's what that is.
What I found, yeah, laser tripod thing. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's a really weird
What
looking
I found
alien.
really the shape of this. Yeah, tripods from War of the Worlds. What do you know? Hey, but the shape of this here is such. This tunnel, I found something. What it reminds me of, especially, is from the movie Prometheus, when they're walking down the tunnels underground towards the locations of the ship, etc. Or the engineers, they're all walking through tunnels that are very similar to this shape. Now I'll get to another one of those tunnels in a minute. To basically further explain why I made that statement. This room here, I don't know what this is used for, maybe ceremony or something else, but the fact that it's domed, I mean, looking at what's in here, I mean, I don't know what or how they would do this at such heights. Yeah.
Looks like a hangar for
look at this door
thing.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking was a hangar for something quite large. And what's up here? And what's in this set of lights inside the room?
The maintenance facility.
Yeah. Yeah, maintenance for these big ships or whatever. Here's one of those tunnels. Here, I'll hide this. Sorry. There we go. One of those tunnels that have been excavated. And the fact that it's got ribs. It hasn't been completely cleaned away, obviously, because I mean, if it was cleaned away, it would look like that other room with the angled columns going down that corridor. It would have each one of these things here would have color, etc. But also you got to think about the fact that it's also probably been weather eroded. Water has probably gone through there as well. Maybe it's washed away some of the strata as well over time, being lower level.
Yeah.
Here's another one of these rooms with this curious shaped, kidney-shaped sort of corridor. It's been carved out in the strata. And it's got all these little holes that are above here. And this is all just on the outside of the actual pyramid. This, curious, another room with light sources hanging from the ceiling. But there's just the amount of rooms that are here that are being excavated. It's just, it goes on and on and on. I mean, for something that's 5 times the size of the Grand Pyramid of Giza, and to have not even the same structures inside as the same as the ones in the Great Pyramid of Giza, and have
they didn't find any.
They
didn't find any burial pyres or anything.
No,
it's just
nothing like that I've seen so far. Yeah. One curious thing I do know of within the Bachigi Mountains complex, I haven't got a photo of it as such yet, and I will get one in the future and share it with you. But I understand that there's actually not just this part of the pyramid available to be able to view now for everyone to see. but there's an actual structure that's up inside the mountain complex itself, away from the pyramid, that is under white hat control. From what I understand now, it was under black hat control for many, many years, and they've been trying to gain access to this particular place inside the mountains. And from what I know, this particular aristocrat from northern Europe had a particular bloodline and genetic trait that was within his genealogy that allowed him to pass through this barrier that was actually stopping soldiers or anyone from passing further. Each soldier or anyone that tried to get in contact with this thing and try and turn this electric field barrier off, they were actually disintegrated immediately. Nothing left of them, from what I understand.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, and this is obviously technology that's an organic-based technology, much like the Ark of the Covenant or the Ark of Gabriel. Very similar organic technology using the Earth's frequencies and building it up within a capacitor charge of some sort. But yeah, these people died on touching this energy field, and they were never seen again, completely disintegrated. And this aristocrat walked up like it was nothing, and the energy field just pretty much dissipated because of his genetic connection to obviously whatever this energy field was connected to. It obviously needed a gene of some sort within his bloodline to be recognized in order to disconnect or turn off this barrier for them to proceed any further. And when they got inside, they found a table that was very large. It was massive. And what happened was they found that it was a holographic table by touch. And by touching this table, it would pull up a DNA sequence for whatever creature came up with that DNA. Okay, and if you touched another button on the other side, they would actually show another piece of DNA. And if you touched a certain button elsewhere, it would combine the two, creating either a hybrid or a chimera of sorts. And this table was pure black. It was made of stone. It had seats that were sitting around it. And if you look at the movie Alien Covenant, within that movie is a very similar table to what was found inside the Pachigi mountain complex up in this domed room that's up there where they passed this energy field. And they found out that it was all a holographic table where they were able to find out about genealogies, DNA, gene splicing, and creating chimeras and hybrids as such. Yeah, from some of the things that I've read coming out back in the early years of my first journey of awakening to all of this stuff.
Marianne's raising a good point here. She says she'll be dead before we get to learn our real history again. Is that a real risk for a lot of us here at the moment, do you think? I
don't know.
I mean, we're sort of leading around. People in chat have already got to it. The world has been reset before.
Yes.
It looks like we're heading for another one of those. And the year predicted, I believe, is 2044. So that's why they're trying to get all their evil plans in place before that, because they know what's coming.
They do, yeah. They do.
So I've got to say,
what's coming, I believe what's here already, actually. What's here already.
Yeah. Got to say, 2044 seems like a bloody long way away. Going to be hard to maintain the rage for something like that for that long. What I'm saying. Going forward, I think we'd all like to
keep it on.
I think we'd all like to see something happen before we die, Marianne. Sooner rather than later. That's what we're looking for. Sooner rather than later.
I guess it depends on whether. I guess it depends on whether or not you've had the jab.
That's true. Too.
Keep going, Chris. Where are we now? Still in the tunnel.
Yeah. Oh no, we're in another room here with walls that are basically made of light. Somehow, there's some luminescence coming from some form of light source that's within the rock strata, but as you can see, there's no real light source other than this thing. It looks like a couple of pipes and some sort of
and R2D2 who lost his head.
I don't know what this is. Maybe.
Yeah, headless R2D2.
I mean, it's just interesting to see that these things are inside there and. Yeah, I can now see what you're talking about. Yeah, I can now see it. Yeah, see how they always curved a certain way. And this light source that's here It's what is this?
That is solid
Magnificent
rock
to see,
we're looking at there, isn't it?
Yes, solid rock. All of this.
So that has to have been liquefied and directed into that sort of a position.
Yes.
And that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like it's been wet troweled cement.
Yeah, it does. Mud.
Yeah, like troweled cement
Yeah.
was coming. Yeah. So if you can change the frequency you can actually change the frequency on soil, and you can liquefy it, creating liquefaction. I mean, you can do the same with rock strata if you made it hot enough, or if it was soft enough, you can do something with it. Exactly. But I mean, looking at this, like, I mean, just some of the things I've seen in India and the structures I've seen over there. I mean, some of the structures I've seen, they look like they've been done by some form of laser etching or CNC machining. I mean, they're just too perfect. To be able to replicate as many, like some of the pillars, they're all the same. To replicate that without making a mistake or chipping a piece of stone and having a stonemason go off at you and say, "Hey, you need to start that again." You know, nah. There was no room for error, no room for mistakes. They had technology clearly.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look at this in the ceiling.
Wow.
No, the same photo again, sorry. There we go. Now, here we go. He's inside the Romanian mountain. It's roughly 200 foot tall.
Are they people in the
Roughly
bottom of the frame there?
Down here? Yes. That's a person down there.
Wow.
I got more photos of it. There you go. See, I'll show you down here. There you go. There's people here. There's a shadow of them. It's probably them there. And that's the second one right in front of it.
Any of you guys familiar with
Aztec,
Australian writers?
Aztec American?
Yeah, very much. Any of you guys familiar with Matthew Riley?
Yes, Matthew Riley is one of the greatest writers of Australia.
Yeah. And what does he write about?
Very awesome writer. Yeah, a lot of stuff that we are seeing, especially that Ice Station book. Oh,
yeah.
There's a bit of truth there in plain sight.
And there's another one called Contest. I would commend to people.
Yes,
now
the
having
Contest.
seen this pyramid.
New York City Library. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. There is a whole series involving a character called Scarecrow, and in one of them he has to battle his way through all sorts of things, including aliens, in an underground bunker that has a huge pyramid in it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've read the book myself.
Matthew Riley's books are, fiction, but instructive. I'll say that.
Very informative and instructive, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, very much so.
Opens one's minds to the possibilities of what is truly out there, really.
Yeah, I haven't looked to see what he's written recently, but yeah, wow, that is amazing. Look at that.
As you can see,
incredible.
Two pyramids inside this mountain. I know.
Well, the symmetry of it.
It's just perfect, exactly. And to be in complete alignment with each other, directly up to each apex, the way they are, they're completely in alignment.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a vertical entrance from the ceiling, which is 1,200 meters in height, going down to which is down here, which is the floor of the cavern. It's a long freaking way down there. I mean, it's out of focus. That's how far away it is because we're at the top of the actual opening here.
Yeah, right.
There's the actual pyramid, as you can see here, with all the liquefied mud, fossilized mud that's up against the back of it from its last crustal displacement when it turned into a washing machine roughly 12,500 years ago. And it's what they like to call global warming today, guys. They like to call it that, but no, it's actually called the precession of cycles. But yeah, this is how liquefied mud, if the Earth changes its frequency and goes up an octave roughly every 12,600 years, it's natural to think that liquefied mud and things would slosh around quite a bit from the frequency change, because that's what happens, liquefaction. And if the Earth, tilted on its axis and there was liquefaction of a lot of soil everywhere, it makes sense that it would actually back up against roughly 3.5 sides. It's a massive, massive structure. And today, after thousands of years, has turned into mud fossilized mountains, just much like what you would consider Devil's Tower in Wyoming. That's actually been proven to be a mud fossilized tree as well.
Yeah, wow. So the giant trees is another story people should be following. I've got a significant feeling that Monument Valley is it Nevada or Arizona?
Yep.
I've got a feeling that may well have once have been a giant tree forest.
It was.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So some of those amazing rock formations actually used to be trees that were, brought down for a reason. Oh shit! There's an interesting photo. Small pyramids are primed, and then they fire up the large pyramid. You never see the pyramids built by themselves. Thank you, Mike. Michelle wants to know: are they built on ley lines? Do you think? Got to think that
absolutely.
They probably are. Yeah.
Most definitely.
Most churches, synagogues, and pyramids are all built on ley lines and cross-intersecting ley line points.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You can actually clearly draw a line from some of these pyramids, and they'll meet other pyramids and other structures around the Earth. And they're all just all in absolute perfect alignment with each other across thousands of kilometers. And I mean, for the narrative to be told to us that they had no contact with each other, or let alone just seafaring nations, I think it's just a load of absolute hogwash and bullshit.
I'd also like to say
these
too.
Structures here get the same sorts of colours.
I'd also like to say too, for those people who are interested in Canberra, go and have a look at where your Parliament House sits, and you'll find it is right smack dab on ley lines. And then wonder why Canberra has an edgy feel to it.
You'll also notice that Canberra's Parliament House isn't unfinished. Yep, the pyramid, exactly. The unfinished pyramid in Canberra, exactly, and the capstone missing off the tower.
Yeah.
Yep, it's true.
And not enough.
I was going to say, there's also a black cube directly beneath the apex of that pyramid in Parliament House.
Inside. Right. Exactly right. Yep, inside. And you also find on the drive into Canberra on the main I think it's a double lane highway both ways, you'll find that there's an owl that overlooks both lanes, which is the Owl of Molech.
Yep.
Yeah.
And where you'll find naval military intelligence run by Mr. Angus. What's his name? You'll find that those places, that's him. You'll find that these places are strategically set out in a pentagram across Canberra.
Yep. There's a lot of Masonic symbology in Canberra, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Now, this is ancient machinery apparently that's inside this. Yes. This is what I found really curious. It's like, what were they doing? What is this? I mean, it clearly goes down levels. Right down here and further probably. But this has all been uncovered, excavated, and rocks cleared away. It makes you wonder what all this is. I mean, clearly it's got gauges and stuff all there. Pipes.
Yeah.
Pressure releases. Yeah. I mean, that there alone looks like what you'd have on your normal telephone poles these days, the relay electricity. What do they call them? Transformer.
Yeah, that's very modern.
Similar to a transformer. Yeah. Continuing on into the good stuff. Okay, now these structures, the way they're making these, this reminds me of something out of Stargate straight up, where they've got that portable teleportation rings, where they have 5 rings come down and they teleport you anywhere you want, pretty much, or within close proximity.
Yep.
Very similar from what I can see there. I don't know what this is as such up the end there. It might be a DHD. It might be something that activates this thing that's above us here. Who knows? But very hard to say the least. I mean, they've obviously lit up this place so that you can get a bit of light in there. But I mean, I like the interesting choice of lighting they chose. That's the curious thing. Why that green?
Looks like a Stargate. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now this is another of these statues that are found inside this mountain as well. Now, if you go into Turkey, there's a place in Turkey where they have, I think it's 6 or 9, I think it's more so 6 stone statues that are all missing their heads. And the heads are actually placed in front of these statues on this hill. Now, this hill's a man-made hill as well, so I'm curious to know what's underneath it myself. I believe it's perfectly round as well. Okay, this hill. So, who knows what's underneath it. But these heads that are on the hill in front of the actual statues look exactly like these domed head individuals here with their beards.
I'll tell you that looks
the individuals on the hill.
That looks really interesting, Chris. In the ancient ruins in Antarctica are statues very similar to that.
Yes.
Yes,
I've seen
the ancient ruins are they're interesting. You've got huge blocks which are easily a couple of tons each, just scattered. Like there's been a large blast happened somewhere out in sort of like the main harbour down in Antarctica, where you've got size of buildings literally blown away. However, you've then got columns that still remain intact, standing upright, but then you've also got pedestals with these type of statues standing quite happily on there. And 30 years ago, they were still standing, when I was down there. It would be very interesting to see up close if there is a link between these guys and down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, looking at some of the head dressings and the way that they're dressed with their robes, their beards, as much as it's not really quite too fact that their heads are dome shaped remind me of the head dressings that were used in ancient Sumer.
Reminds me of the Coneheads movie.
When apparently Coneheads movie, Dan Ackley as well. Exactly. But that's what I also think that they were trying to depict in that movie is a genetic resurgence of, I mean, not so much the individuals in the movie, but what they're showing us is the fact that these individuals have these sorts of heads and these quite possibly a genetic throwback resurgence of these individuals possibly coming through again. Who knows? The fact that these individuals are born with heads that have no sutures, no actual parietal sutures in their skulls that join together. These individuals are born with elongated heads. Yes, and we've found this not only in one continent, but many continents. Many continents with the same sorts of skulls.
Yeah.
And as you can see here, this is quite curious. This is very active down at the end of this room. I don't know what it is, but it was taken on site and sent to me. So you can see this hasn't even been excavated out yet, but something's obviously active there.
Yeah, to me that looks like one of those transportation rings you were talking about earlier.
Well, if you look at it, there is pretty much, I'd say, something very similar. There's 3. But, that could be directly. Yeah. That looks directly below it. Oops. Yeah. But it might be up in this section.
Interesting.
Up in that section there more so, maybe. Yes.
Great.
Now, there's the one I wanted to show you. This one really, this was all photographed inside there. And I haven't altered these. These are all just as they are, as I found them, and just brought them to you. But I'll show you a little bit. Some form of energy or build up of some sort down here, some plasma energy of some field. I don't know. But very interesting. The fact that these are very much like the sides of the corridors of a ship Yeah, maybe a wormhole,
Yeah.
a portal possibly as well. Yeah.
Mm.
And these look very much like the corridors of an inside of a ship. Some of the reports that we've had in the past, in the last few years, from insiders that worked on off-world events where they've had to go out and investigate certain things, such as the Oumuamua that came through our solar system a couple of years ago, back in 2019. A group was actually sent out to investigate through the secret space program, and they were able to actually enter inside. And it turns out the actual Oumuamua is an actual probe, like it was suggested, and there was corridors that were very similar to this that were described, and there were glyphs on the walls all the way around these walls, apparently described as well. They all were very much like, I reckon, very similar to the mine. Yeah, and the corridors similar to this, so it makes me wonder what else is actually buried inside this mountain, because this is very similar to what was being described by this whistleblower, talking about the insides of the Oumuamua object that came to our solar system.
Oh.
Very interesting stuff. Now,
So
I'm not
what's on
sure
the
what
roof?
this is exactly. I've never. Sorry, was that in the previous photo? You'd like
Yeah,
to go
just
back
on
to?
on the previous
here?
one, on the ceiling there, are they hieroglyphics or something?
Yes.
I can't really make it out. You zoom in? Yeah, up the top there.
They look very much like glyphs, but I can't read them out. Yeah, even up here, more so in the center, I'd say there's more so an Aztec sort of glyphs there.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think these are as such, but they are very blurry, so it is hard to make out. But I'll see if I can go in a little closer for you. There you go. I mean, you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 glyphs there. 1, 2,
So
3,
definitely some
4,
kind of
5.
markings. Yeah,
Yeah.
Some sort of
definitely.
markings for sure. Exactly, possibly telling us something. Yes.
Interesting.
Now, I haven't been able to identify because I mean.
Oh,
these are
really,
just out of my
mate?
scope of
That's
range
pretty
of understanding.
simple.
I don't even know.
I can tell you exactly what that is. That's a cat box.
Hey, cat box. Yeah. Go inside, do your business.
Yeah. And
No,
one of
it is
those
actually
ones
quite
that
interesting.
America
You know,
have
I mean,
been
we've got all
selling
these
lots
glyphs
of
around here.
recently. Yeah,
Yeah,
wow, look at
with
them.
lids and everything. Yep. I've
Yeah,
seen
and
them.
apparently they've been electrocuting the
But
cats
yeah, just looking at the roof.
inside them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Lawsuit in progress.
But yeah, just very
Cat
curious
went in to have a
know
crap
what
and
that
wound
is
up
exactly.
electrocuted.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like a front-loading washing machine.
Wow.
Yeah,
look at
hey,
that.
looks definitely. I know. I mean, like, look at the level and sophistication of the curves, the upper rooms, the columns. Each one of these hand carved, or whatever tool they use, possibly some sort of possible laser machine, some sort of laser, to some pre-programmed thing that possibly using the right frequency could dissipate and disintegrate maybe the rock and leave it as nothing. That's why there's been never any sort of rock strata or anything found in other locations such as the pyramids for the ramps.
So
never any of that stuff's
Neville
ever been
wants to
found
know-
anywhere.
Neville wants to know if this is still in Romania, Chris, or is this under
Yes.
somewhere else, or are we still
Yes.
under that Romanian
Yes, it's all
mountain?
still there.
Yep.
Yeah, all still there presently today. These are photos that have only just come out recently. Now, I do not know what this was, but it was excavated out of there. And this is beyond my scope. I have no idea what it is that came out of there. It's actually on display. But yeah, it looks very
Oh,
weird. Looks like some sort of control device.
Yeah, some kind of modern art.
Now this, creme de la creme. This is an arc coming off whatever it is here in the center.
That's cool.
Yeah. This is something that really got me when I saw this. It's like, wow, there's something definitely active in this room.
Wow.
And the fact that it's a portal there, not a portal, but some form of space where you stand, ceremonial. It could be, it could be like a quantum, organic technology. Could possibly be a quantum teleportation device, the old school way. Who knows? I mean, just looking at this room, these stones have been placed. This room has been, etched away on this angle consistently all the way around. The roof is level. I mean, how can they reach that unless you've got a scissor lift? I mean, geez. This, curious again. This is another one that's being excavated. But there's tunnels. Look at the sophistication, the level of this. It's amazing. There's geometry in it. You can see there's geometry in it. What's on the door? Look, what are these statues? What are these things? It's clearly someone.
That almost looks like some kind of a pump or chain system.
Yeah, or camshaft.
Yeah.
Yes.
Drive shaft for a propeller.
Yes. Here we go. This is that room that had the 3 things above us earlier. That light was in the middle of the room.
Oh, yeah.
This is another same room, but it's something definitely active going on there. And look at this. These rings on the ceiling, not just these ones, but the actual arches as well. What is it? I do not know. All I know is it's highly sophisticated, technological, and organic in nature to a degree. Because I mean, it's in rock. Rock isn't meant to generate electricity unless it's quartz crystal or granite.
No. It's like cables anyway.
These are soft stones.
So, Chris, how sure are you that these haven't been altered or touched up in any way?
The source that I got it from, very reliable. They've been never one to let me down with information in my past. And I've basically kept this person private for quite a long time. And whenever something comes up that they've actually handed to them, because I'm always found an interest in this stuff in my past, they've just passed it on to me. But I found that it was so interesting that I had to present it to other people to see what they think. I mean, who knows? They could be doctored. We don't know. I mean, the fact is that it's within this Romanian complex. And I've seen these rooms before any of this stuff lit up, when they were still in the early stages of being excavated, when none of this was even active. I'd say, is probably, I'll give it a 50-50 to balance it up. Let's just say that to be fair. Could be, could not be, might not be, who knows? But that's up to us, up to disclosure to show in time when I'd say Dr. Asmanagic will probably show his own personal photos in time as well. He has had stuff on ancient aliens before as well. So you might find that it might even be released on there in the future. Even though Ancient Aliens is a soft disclosure unit as such, you'll find that you'll still get a bit of information there, and you'll be able to take those tidbits and breadcrumbs as such and go and find more information from there. I'm sure. And there is the one that I really want to show you.
Oh wow! What is that?
Yeah.
Project Looking Glass.
Exactly.
Wow, yeah.
So you can see these concentric rings within the room, bleeding into this.
Yeah.
This is what I expect a portal looks like.
Exactly. A natural organic stargate of the old one. Exactly. Because we have technological stargates and we have organic stargates. We've found these all around the planet, disclosed and several, in many locations. And they have had stories that have been handed down orally through cultural traditions in that area to say that people have been seen disappearing into these places, never being seen again.
Right.
So curious, and even look at the level of the sophistication of this up here being carved.
Yeah.
All the way through.
It's very impressive.
Another statue. Now, when you look at him, he's very similar. In the bust itself, the shoulders, the actual torso itself. If this was a little bit clearer, I'm sure this would actually look very similar to the statue of Akhenaten in ancient Egypt.
Yep.
Very similar. He has very broad shoulders, Akhenaten, and a V-shaped torso that was very weird with a pot-shaped belly. Now, looking at this, there's looking at this area here, you can see there's a slight pot to it.
Yeah, right.
With his arms extended out, obviously he used to hold something in the past, but this is solid stone. And how do they move this stuff in place unless they carved it there in place? Look at the structure of the ceiling. Itself as well. Far beyond the levels of what we've been told they were capable of back then.
Absolutely.
This reminds me a lot of what we saw in the movie Dune, where they were storing hundreds of thousands of decaliters of water being stored. One of those pools inside the mountains. Very similar to that. Looks very similar. Now, I don't even know what this is up the end here. I think this might be some form of statue. I don't know. It's too blurry to be able to tell. The fact that the lines are so straight.
It looks like a bloke carrying
cuts like that with cutting saw.
That looks like a bloke carrying 2 buckets of water on a stick bent over his shoulders.
Does.
Yeah, symbolic. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. My cat kicking my feet. Sorry, guys.
They look like steps.
Yeah.
Go on to the next one. Now, this one here. Yes.
They look like steps.
But also very similar to what you see in China with their towers, some of their towers. And those towers very similar to what you'd call Tesla towers or quantum field towers.
Yeah, that's
a lot of the symbology of the towers in China look a lot like what you call Tesla towers, yes. And the fact that there's steps there all the way through it. They look like they're small. Yeah. And the same ceiling again, as we can see.
Yeah.
Another statue with the cone head again in another room. Just fascinating, eh? And these are old, obviously. I mean, looking at the erosion and the weathering of these things, they've been there for thousands of years. I think that was it for that.
Oh, mate, I think that's all good. I think you've blown most of us away tonight.
Bloody oath. That was
there we go.
Great photos.
That's that one.
That's pretty impressive for one night. Let's leave it at that.
All right. You sure you don't want to see Harry's photos, mate?
Oh, God, yeah. We got to do Harry's photos. Melissa has sent a great question in. What do you think about Picnic at Hanging Rock?
Portal.
Good movie.
Portal. Straight up portal. It's been spoken about in oral traditions of the native Australian original people in that area to have a portal for thousands of years. And I think so-called Hollywood Australia utilised this story to put fear in people to stop them from finding it or going anywhere near it, and for the possibility that might well be a place that might lead you to somewhere very benevolent maybe, and instead putting a spin, reverse, and invert this whole story and make a story where these women disappeared and never to be returned again, and all the haunting bullshit that came around that story as well during that movie. Yeah, I think they put a negative spin on it for a purpose to keep people away. And from that general area as well, because quite well possibly might be a massive dump in that area as well. I mean, being 176 dumps in Australia themselves, it's quite well to say that it could well be a dump there, because they like to build dumps in areas where these portals are, so they can utilise them for their own purposes. Yeah,
100%. All right, we did tease on the Harry stuff, so we should show those images. Right. So do you want to set this up too?
All right, mate. I'll go right there right now. Here we go. All right. All right. And share. Here we go. Now, is this going to come up? Okay.
Here it comes.
One and down two. There we go. Is that coming up? Here we go. She's coming. Now, I put a post up on Facebook. Can you guys see that? Yep.
Yep.
Has that come up on your end? Okay. Now I'll put a post up on Facebook last week about quirks, body language, finger placements, and the way we use our bodies and such to just present ourselves on everyday life. And the fact that Princess Diana has always had this particular finger placement on her hand whenever she waved in any of her pictures whilst she was here on the planet. Now, as you can see here, the same finger placement again, as much as the last finger, pinky, and the index are spread a little bit wider. The two in the middle are always within that same placement. I'll show you again. Another photo, same finger placement. Okay. Now, in regards to what Harry was saying today on the news about what's going on with how he believes that his mother is still alive and faked her own death, I believe that is to be true because of this next photo. As you can see, we have the same finger placement. And on this book here, this book is called Every Last Secret. Okay? And we have clearly on this hat here a Q. Now I'm going to show you who's actually in this hat. Mr. Sylvester Stallone. Now I know for a fact that Sylvester Stallone, this was a post that I put up last year in 2021 in December 6th. That's how long I've had this photo for. That was posted back then. And I thought it was quite interesting to think that I still had... Sorry, my cat's attacking my cords. Get out of here, cat. Yep, sorry, my cat was attacking my cords.
You're going to have to train your pussy a lot better than that, mate, I tell you.
Oh, I have to train that pussy, yeah. But yeah, I found it was interesting to know that this actually came out back then, and it's so fitting with what's going on now and coming out publicly that, to know that he has actually been friends with Mr. T for quite a long time, since the 1990s, probably even earlier, maybe even the 80s. And the fact that him, Sylvester, and Mel Gibson are also very good friends. Mel Gibson's a friend of Mr. T as well. Okay, and I've got quite a few photos of them all together. But it's just, to know that he had made that statement and to see that this photo was released a year ago. I've been sitting on it and knowing full well that this finger placement, no doubt, is that finger placement there on the same person hiding behind that book.
Well, as a person that actually worked in the shadows, I can tell you that
yes,
creating identities and sort of hiding in the shadows, as it were, bloody easy.
Yep.
If you have enough money and you know the right people to go to, you can disappear.
Yeah.
I do believe
how I know it. Yeah, and how I know it, when I was actually out doing the stuff out of the aircraft, I was actually under a different identity altogether. And I could literally walk into any country if I had issues, come back, explain it to the powers that be. I'd have myself a whole new identity.
Yeah, right.
And I could literally go straight back into that country.
Wow.
As someone else. So. If it's easy enough for someone within the government to do it, it's definitely easy enough for someone outside of it to do it as well.
Yep, agree more.
Absolutely.
Could not agree more. Gentlemen, I just want to thank you all for coming on tonight and making our first Friday night free-for-all for the year such a deeply enjoyable one. Got a huge amount of people in the chat who have thoroughly enjoyed what we've been talking about this evening. I've got to admit, there is a subject we haven't touched on, and we're not going to touch on it in this show. It's something better done on.
Rumble.
Yeah, but it has to do with sleeping giants. We'll just leave it at that, shall we? I think I'm looking forward to doing something with that, and we'll have a talk, Chris. Maybe we can do that sooner rather than later. I owe the people a week's worth of shows, and I owe Fitz a makeup Magna Carta 1215. So it's going to be a busy week. Maybe we can squeeze that one in over the weekend.
I'm happy, mate. All the way through, man. No problem at all. I'm available.
Excellent. Cheers, mate. Thanks for coming on tonight. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Great to be here with you.
No worries, mate. We'll do it all again. Bob, you too, mate. I don't know where we'd be without your insightful bits. And there are more insightful bits coming from you.
Oh, yeah. One day we'll definitely have to tell you about drugs, where they come from and how they're distributed. But that will definitely have to be a Rumble only. Because
we will do that 100%. You stay safe doing the things that you do out there, and look forward to talking to you again soon, mate.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone. We'll talk to you next time.
Cheers.
Marvelous. Those two guys, great effort. Mark, we didn't really get much of a chance to talk to you. So how are you? Things going well in the new year? Lawn still growing, or is it pouring rain down your end of the world? And went inside.
It's literally pouring down. That's why I just had to run off because all the windows started leaking.
Oh, great!
It's literally pouring down right here tonight. Yeah, it's been really dry last little while, but last couple of days it's been pouring down around here. Been going good day. Back mowing lawns. Took a week off and back mowing lawns.
Yeah, very nice. Your other half enjoy Christmas?
Yes.
By that I mean, did you buy her something?
yeah. It's a birthday. On just a couple of days into January too, so you get stung twice.
You don't sound bitter about it. Jeez.
No, we've got to move house too. So we've been looking for a house. We've just been approved for a house. So it's all
really?
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Does it have less than 275 stairs leading down?
Yeah. It's literally like 5 houses down the road from where we are. So we got to.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Same street.
Great.
Yeah.
Same street, yeah. So you can still find me nice and easily.
Yeah, easy.
Does that mean instead of walking up the 275 stairs and carrying everything up it, you can walk along the forefront through the 4 other houses along the water there and
almost
move in?
We've got we're just going to drive up and go around. Yeah, we've got the golf cart going again.
Yeah, I'd be investing in a tinny or something that could pull a small barge. Just load it from ground level where you're at, mate. Don't lift it up that hill.
That's a good idea. Oh, we're definitely doing the ground level thing. I even went and bought a little trailer thing for my golf cart so I can have Gumtree the other day. So
really?
selling cheap. So I got a good deal.
Good stuff.
Right, let's hope you get a good deal on a battery for the golf cart then.
Well, I did too. I thought I was going to have to pay. I only had to pay a quarter of the price. I thought I was going to have to pay for those too. So I did. I did really well. Stoked.
Well done.
Excellent. Looking forward to the house.
You'll be really happy with the house when you come next time. I'll even have a room for you to stay.
What?
Shock, horror, gasp. Oh, God. Oh, that's all right. We don't mind sleeping on your floor, mate. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk again soon.
It's good to see.
And of course to you, G1. Thank you for everything that you do. You're wandering around today around Canberra.
That was a great show. Great show.
Yeah.
Those were amazing. I was tripping out on them. Incredible.
Yeah. Chris is a wealth of information. Unfortunately, a lot of it we can't put up on YouTube because they will simply freak that right out, and that'll be the end of that. But we are going to do Rumble shows, and Bob has a whole heap of secrets he's going to share with us. But once again, it'll be a Rumble show. So if anybody was ever thinking that I'm in this to make money out of YouTube, why would I be sending people to Rumble? That's where we're going to be. That's where we'll predominantly be moving most of the show. We'll obviously do bits and pieces here on YouTube and try and keep people up to date with general intel, if you like. But for the stuff that might have a bit of meat on it, we're going to have to go to the others. So that'll be how it is. Looking forward to seeing you soon and getting the gear together so that we can get on the road and, well, have a bit of fun with the people. Are you looking forward to that?
Absolutely, mate. I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And so is Neo. He says he's looking forward to seeing you again too. And Chile.
Oh, very good. Well, it'll be a fight to see whose tongue he can share first.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that sounded really bad. His tongue shared with who first, Chile or me? Chile's much faster than me, so it'll probably be Chile.
Yeah, he'll catch you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, and getting caught by Neo, that's depending on where you're sitting and how, that can be quite a shock. All right, mate. Love your work. Thanks for everything you did today for us, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Likewise, brother. Talk to you soon. See you, everyone.
See you, mate. And you folks, thank you for sticking around as long as you have. Well, we've done nearly 2 hours, and that's a big effort on your behalf. Congratulations. I think we should really thank Chris and Bob for their effort tonight. Chris, some of those photos, absolutely amazing, and looking forward to hearing more little secrets and the gems that you have in the background there. Yeah, there you go. He's just been very happy about all that, folks. So just so you can see, he's very keen to share it with us. And over the next few days, I won't be as scarce as I have been over the last week or so. There are a few interesting little things that I've found and saved and shared, and I just have to collate now and put together into a show. So we'll wind up having a bit of a chat maybe Sunday about a few of those things. Looking forward to doing big things this year, folks. We want to try and help everybody get through this, and we need your support to do it. So if you go to our website, vofhq.com, you can become a member for as little as $1.25 a week. And we're not going to give you anything special for being a member. All your membership money will do is go to help us with fuel, food, accommodation if required, buying the bits and pieces that we need that break down along the road to keep us on the road, and keep the show going so we can bring a My Place to your place, amongst other things. Doesn't have to be a My Place. There are lots of people that want My Places too. So we're very happy to come and set up a My Place in every suburb. We'd have one in every street if we could. Not really possible. And I'll get Darren Bergwerf on next week for a chat about plans going forward into 2023 with My Place, and hopefully be down in Victoria sometime toward late January, I hope. So we'll hopefully have a show we can put together there out of Frankston's My Place, of course. And then we might go and have a look at a few others that are floating around. The Yarra Valley has a magnificent My Place there. We might head up along the Murray, Swan Hill, Mildura. We'll call in there. Of course, flooding at the moment. They've been having some real issues with the Murray River. Of course, still getting a huge amount of water coming down off the mountains. Who knew that in Australia we could have snow still melting on mountains this time of year? Interesting. That has a lot to do with why it's so cold everywhere, folks, because they're trying to keep that melt happening slow, and they've got the water levels up really high. They have got the ground absolutely sodden, and it will not take another drop in many, many places. And I can speak just down at the Gold Coast over the weekend in the hinterland there. Last night, there was a storm last night about, 7 o'clock last night. I drove from Canberra back into the Gold Coast, and I couldn't do more than 40 kilometres an hour. That was because there was some dickhead on the road in front of me. No, it was too dangerous to do more than 40 kilometres an hour in places. You just couldn't see. The rain was that heavy, and there was a road slips, mudslides, all sorts of interesting things happening. So, yeah, ground's very wet. We're going to start getting dried out in the not too distant future, and then be prepared, particularly in the subtropical and tropical areas. It's going to dry out. It's going to dry out really fast. And in the southern areas, it's going to dry out really fast for you too. So all that great green grass that Ricardo and I have been speaking about, that we saw on the Hume Highway, traveling between Melbourne and Canberra and Sydney, all that's going to turn into beautiful, great dead grass and be amazing fire material. It only takes one idiot who has a desire to start a fire to go ahead and do that. And we all know the results of such stupidity. But we've also seen evidence that these fires are not necessarily made by a mentally challenged tool who likes to see fire. These things have been made by lasers fired from aircraft. That's particularly the case that's happened in America, on the west coast of America. So there has been reports, I said in a show the other day, There has been no photos, I stress, so I'll take out of it what you will. I don't particularly believe it, but I have no reason to disbelieve it yet, really, other than there are no pictures of it. There is one of those aircraft with a laser mounted in its nose that swivels around, and they can burn things from great height, start fires. Looks like lightning. So, look like very straight lightning, I suppose. But yeah, one of those apparently in Australia. Don't know. We'll just have to wait and see whether or not there's much truth in that. But yeah, there are plenty of mentally defunct, as Adam has put it, fools out there who would quite happily get out a packet of redheads and start a bushfire just because they can. No time for people like that. Look forward to getting them in front of a jury of the people in a trial by jury. Can't say we'd be very forgiving. If you're on the roads travelling this weekend, folks, please be safe. Don't go and do anything loud and outrageous. You know, I'm not up for it just yet. Still recovering, but feeling much better than I have been over the last week. Once again, thank you to everybody for your kind wishes, thoughts, blessings, and prayers. And yeah, as always, you can donate at the website. Every little bit helps. If you choose not to be a member, you can donate. There's a button there. Memberships, as I say, start at $1.25 a week. I think it's $2.50 a fortnight. And from there, work their way up to pretty much anything that you can see yourself giving. Every bit of it gratefully received. And I will have news for you about how transparent it will all be in the near future. One of the reasons that I had a conversation with Cass Smith yesterday. That'll give you a bit of an idea about where our accountancy might be going and our transparency. So more on that in the next weeks. We'll figure that out. But just know that we're doing this for you guys, not for us. We're doing it for all of us. Who am I kidding? We are doing it for us, but we're doing it as much for us as we are for you. And for your kids, I'm doing it for my kid in the hope one day she might get a grandchild for me. If you're lucky enough to already have one of those, or 2 or 10, bastard, congratulations. But my daughter's had her challenges, as we all know. And if I'm blessed with a grandchild at some stage, it'll be a bloody miracle, because there isn't a man in her life. So it could be the second coming yet. Who knows? If you're on the roads, folks, be safe. Watch out for the dickheads.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's rock!